Hello, and welcome to the first Friday of the month career strategy sessions. I'm getting everything started. We've got the room opened up on LinkedIn Live. Welcome to our guests. Welcome, Farhana. Welcome, Khalile, and all of those who will be joining us through the LinkedIn Live room. And thank you and welcome to everyone who's here in the Zoom room. It is an interesting process to be running things on two simultaneous platforms. But let's kick off and let's get started. These events tend to attract a lot of people who aren't quite sure how the LinkedIn audio room works. So you might find that people are dropping in and dropping out. Don't worry about what anyone else is doing. Stay here with me, stay focused, and I would love to hear your questions. So if you're in the Zoom room, you can put your hand up. And if you're in the LinkedIn Live audio room, you're also able to put your hand up or share with, let me know how where this information is landing by sharing a reaction. So by way of introduction, my name is Licia Doing and I'm a career strategist. And I'm based in Cape Town, but I have the great pleasure of working with people around the globe. I believe that you can design a career that you want, and you absolutely can revolutionize your work. Why do I believe this? Because this was my story, and I was stuck and frustrated and had no idea how to career strategize myself back to my purpose and my passion. But I decided to become the person that I needed 10 years ago, and I now teach people exactly what I took myself through and a structured framework of knowing who you are, telling the world who you are, and finding the people who want who you are. The process is strategic, it meets you where you're at, and where we develop a new mindset, we must match that with an action step to move you forward. Welcome to everyone. As I said, you're attending one of the free first Friday of the month career strategy sessions. And today, can you believe it? It's Friday, the 7th of June. We're in the midpoint of the mid-year. Things are running incredibly fast in 2024. Please be sure to subscribe to the event community. If you're on LinkedIn Live, you'll see in the comments of this actual event, there is a link. That way you will have access to the replay. You'll get notified of next month's career strategy session. But most importantly, you'll have the opportunity to send me your questions so that I can show up here on the first Friday of the month to serve you and to answer whatever calls or questions or concerns you have. These are bite-sized opportunities to be able to shift where you're at, share some advice and some inspiration, and more than anything, track how this session might move you between now and the next session. But before we start, I'd love to hear from you, those of you who are in the LinkedIn Live room, and those of you, the LinkedIn audio room, and those of you who are here with me on Zoom. Give me a hands up in the LinkedIn Live in the audio room if you're new to my tribe. Thumbs up if you're new, and perhaps if you're a regular and you've been around my ecosystem for some time, I'd love to see some hearts. There's limited reactions on LinkedIn, but that would be great. Thank you. Some new people coming in, so welcome. Welcome to you all. Welcome Yamkeliswa and Kolile. And here on the Zoom room, I've got lots of hearts because you guys are in the tribe. So thank you for being here. I'm super excited that you've shown up because it certainly tells me that you're being strategic. You're choosing yourself in this lunch hour and you're being strategic. It's a lunch hour for some of us. It might be an afternoon hour for some of us. And for some of those who are connecting, who we are connecting to around the globe, it's even an evening. So thank you for all of the diversity and locations that you're coming in from. I'd love you to remember that this is a global community and I'm here to serve as much as I possibly can. So you've chosen yourself and you're being strategic, and that's wonderful. There is something I want to say to all of you who are joining today. Firstly, you're your own guru within your career. You have an inner career guru that resides within you, and often unlocking that guru, the process of unlocking that inner career guru is going through a little bit of friction and frustration to figure out what it is that you really want. What is your work, and where is it that you would like to shine your light in the world? Now, that's important to know. I've developed a I don't consider myself a guru to any of you, other than the fact that I've done something that other people weren't prepared to do, and I'm here to take you through it, and I'm here to train you, and I'm here to coach you in the process. So that's the first thing, is that you are your own guru. Take what I say with that knowledge in hand. Don't skim through LinkedIn or the world, extrapolating little bits of everything from everyone and then applying it, because you're the person that needs to set your strategy right. You're the person that needs to have that overarching direction of where you're going. And then as the information comes to you, you can interpret it and put it into practice. So that's the first thing. Second thing about being strategic is please switch off all distractions. I know that life can come at us thick and fast, but be here, be present, and be 100% focused. You are giving me your time, and likewise, I'm giving you my time. And time is irreplaceable. We will never have this moment again. So let's engage our active listening and gift yourself the power of complete presence. The third thing that I ask of you is to do this. Take down or take a note of the triggers and the takeaways. When you spend time engaging or listening to any amount of new information, or information that's new but it's been packaged differently, there is often questions that you might have. You're all intelligent, probing human beings who are going to ask questions. I want you to write down those triggers. What are the questions that you want to ask, as well as the takeaways? Because that's information for you to be able to track what I share with you today in this career strategy session about skills and talents and how it lands with you. It links back to you being your own guru. Apply what you've learned as well. Don't just write it down, spend this time with me in focused, intentional action, and then move on into the rest of the month. My quest and challenge to you is apply it. There's no time like the present. Carve out some time this weekend to do some of the thinking and some of the work that I'm going to share with you to help you unlock your skills and your talents, to help you understand what are these things called, these things that equate to your superpowers. And there's nothing stronger than working with an accountability partner. Be that somebody that you've decided to enlist, a coach or a strategist in your process, or simply somebody who knows that you're on a journey of tracking towards work for more purpose. Share this with them. So that is my quest to you. And let's get into it. So, why do certain tasks and certain things that you do at work drain you? There's other things that absolutely light you up that you could continue to do over and over and over again and lose track of time. Knowing your skills versus your talents and understanding the difference between the two is a foundational building block, and knowing what type of work will work for you and why. It's part of my process of knowing yourself. And when you know your skills and talents, you're able to move forward and carve or find or create or design the very type of work that's going to serve you. You know, as part of if you've been in my tribe for a while, or if you're new to my tribe and you click on my LinkedIn profile, you'll see that I offer a complimentary career strategy connect. So the first session is on me. It's free. And this is where I give you the opportunity to connect with me and share where you're at. And I share some mindset and action steps, and that may or may not convert to us working together. But this question comes up a lot. A lot of people come on this call and they say to me, I just don't know what I'm good at. I mean, I know what I've learned. I know what I need to do, but I don't know what I really want to do. And I'm not sure where my superpowers lie. In whatever form or version this question comes up. And I'd love to know hand over heart, we're in a private room here in the LinkedIn audio event. Nobody in your network can see what reaction you share with me. And similarly to those people who are joining me in the Zoom room, those brave few individuals who are actually eyeballing me, or rather, I'm eyeballing them right now, I'd like to know this. Who here could quite categorically say, well, obviously you're here because you want, career strategy in terms of skills and talents, but who here has grappled with this in terms of being able to identify your skills, being able to identify your talents? Let me rephrase that question. Who here feels that they've still got a long way to go in terms of identifying their skills and talents versus who here has a sense of they've got it, but they just need some confirmation? So hands up in the Zoom room who feels you've got a long way to go. Hands up in the LinkedIn Live room who feels like you've still got some work and some clarity and some identification to do before you can say that you've nailed it. And while we've got those questions and hands up, I'm just going to quickly scroll through the chat in the Zoom room if there's anything that anyone wanted me to answer to, but no, we're all good. Okay, so no one's got hands up, so perhaps this is about confirming where you're at. This is what we're going to cover in this call. Why do you need to understand this? What is a skill? What is a talent? And how to bring it all together. Before we kick off, please make sure that you subscribe to the event community. As I mentioned, it gives you the opportunity to ask me direct questions, and you will obviously be in line to receive the replay. So here we go. Why do we need to understand this? Well, the beginning of anything is clarity and knowing yourself. And I know that the world socializes when we, finish our secondary education, we head out into the world with the charge of work hard, get a good qualification, climb the ladder of success, and work hard on our job. That messaging is changing a lot, but many of us headed off into our careers with the mantra of work hard on our job, not work hard on ourselves. So there comes a time in our career where all of that hard work grows us, develops us. We move through that ladder, we climb that ladder. But at what point are we able to say, I know who I am, I know what I want to do, and I know how to navigate the ever-changing future of work? I mean, let's face it, 2024 is throwing up some big challenges in terms of shifts in industry, shifts in geopolitical status, rise of cost of living, and just simply, I mean, the advent of artificial intelligence is crashing on the shores of every industry and shifting and changing it. So in order to be able to navigate that, we want to have this foundational understanding of what is this thing called a skill and what is this thing called a talent. And those words are so easily bandied about. I've had many people talk about talents in the sense of I can sing or I can paint, when that's not a talent. We have inherent talents that power us in our work. And I've heard many people talk about skills, but confusing them with something that might be more inherent. So let's get into the definition. Let's kind of get to where the rubber hits the road in the beginning of all beginnings of clarity around knowing yourself. What is a skill? In my world, my definition of a skill is what is acquired knowledge. It's learned information. So you have moved through your career and moved through your qualifications, and you will continue to move through your career and qualifications by growing your skills. So just because you've learned something doesn't mean it's a skill. You've learned something, it's acquired knowledge, and you've mastered it and you enjoy it. So here's an example. We've all, grown-ups and adults, learned how to drive, and we've all learned how to cook. Fair assumption? That doesn't necessarily mean just because we've learned it, that we're skilled in it. We might choose not to want to drive and not to want to cook. we've got the ability, we have the skill, but we simply don't want to use it. So my definition then of a skill is not just something that is learned, it's something that you've learned, something that's acquired knowledge, but you enjoy it and you do it. You enjoy using it. And anybody would say, wow, you're really skilled at driving. I mean, that can be contentious, or you're really skilled at cooking. So have a think right now. Everybody here in the LinkedIn Live audio room, and welcome to the new people who are joining us. As I said, audio rooms tend to have that ebb and flow, and that's absolutely fine. I love the fact that you can hop in and hop out as you need on your phone. To those brave souls who I'm eyeballing here in the Zoom room, you can't necessarily hop out. But I want you to have a think right now. You know what your skills are. You can find your skills by looking at your CV. You can find your skills by looking at your LinkedIn profile. What are the things that you do in your job right now that you have learned? You gained this from your experience. You learned it through qualifications, or you learned it through actually doing the work. These are your skills. Write down 5 of them. Just off the top of your head, jot down some of those skills. It could be good with, numbers, patterns, recognition, spreadsheeting, communication, design thinking, project management, anything within the IT space is clearly skills orientated. So all of you jot down. I can see some busy souls in the Zoom room writing. Thank you for that. And for those of you in the LinkedIn audio, thank you for the emojis and for the encouragement. Jot down 5 things that you know you can quite confidently call a skill. Now, while you're thinking about that, let me go on with the definition. So if a skill is acquired knowledge, a skill is something that you've learned, a skill is something that you have mastered, a skill is something that you're always going to want to develop, you're always going to want to evolve, and you're always going to want to improve. So our skills don't necessarily remain static. We're always nurturing them, we're always growing them, we're always enhancing them. I'd like to use the definition, or I do use the definition then, that a skill is a gift that the world has given you. In my analogy of, as adults, we've all learned how to drive, we've all learned how to cook. The thing about a skill that's so important to remember, though, is that once you've acquired the skill and you use it, you dial up on your energy to access it. So after a while, skills can exhaust you. They drain your energy. Now, as I said, my analogy of cooking and driving, broad-based skills that all adults tend to need to learn. I love driving and I really love cooking. I enjoy them. But if I've driven for 5 hours in a day, I'm ready to get out the car, chuck the car keys in the bottom drawer, and not drive again. Who here resonates with that? The other alternative is if I've cooked, I enjoy cooking. If I've cooked all weekend long, come Monday evening, I'm like, no, that's it. I'm done with my cooking, and somebody else is on in the kitchen, or we're getting takeout, or we're going out to a restaurant. So that skill that I have learned ultimately drains me. So have a look at the 5 things that you've written down. If anyone wants to share them in the LinkedIn audio room, I'm going to go to you guys. Put your hand up and I can put you up into, you'll join the stage and you're welcome to run through them and share them, but you don't have to. I'm very happy for you to be able to do this work quietly within yourselves, but have a look through those 5 skills, and just next to each of them, write an energetic metric of, if you spent all day doing this, on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being you are totally sapped, your batteries are drained, 1 being you're ready to continue doing it all night. Measure these skills, rate them in terms of which saps your energy more and which doesn't. Does that make sense? So a skill is something that you have learned. It's acquired knowledge. It's, by definition, a gift the world has given you. You enjoy it, you're good at it, you're an expert at it, but it takes away your energy. It drains your energy. And if you've been on the call from the beginning, you would know that you're now going to be able to write these down. Write down your 5 skills, and you're going to use a metric, a simple energetic metric of which of these skills saps your energy more than others. And that's something that you can continue to do as you move through your career. Know that a skill is something that drains your energy. Know that a skill is acquired knowledge and only acquired knowledge. And know that a skill is a thing that you will continue to nurture and you will continue to grow. You'll always upskill. Whether it's understanding spreadsheeting and numbers, there's going to be a new way of upskilling on that. So, to the smiling faces in Zoom and to the beautiful profiles of people that I have in the LinkedIn audio room, give me a thumbs up if you're with me on what that definition of a skill is. Does anyone want me to repeat anything or go through anything more specifically before we get to a talent? Thank you, Farhana. Thank you, Zene, my apologies. And thank you for Kalisa and Nomsa. Well done. Yeah, so we're all on it. And guys in the Zoom room, I've got you focused. Wonderful. Let's move on to the definition of a talent. So, talent, unlike a skill, is inherent knowledge. A talent, unlike a skill, is something that you are just born with. It's who you are. It's how you do things. It's what you know. You didn't go to the school of how to do XYZ. You just know this. We can get into quite a lengthy debate here around nature, nurture. Were you born with it? Were you nurtured this way? Or is this something that you always have known and it's who you are? This is career strategy session. It's not anthropology or, behavioral science session. So we're not going to go down that road of that debate, but we are going to consider that a talent is something that you own, that you yourself, it characterizes who you are, and you never learnt this. You've just always known this. So to unpack your talents, it is harder because it's harder to see it when we're socialized with the message of work hard at our job, because our jobs don't necessarily talk about talents. And I'm not referring to a talent as painting, singing, or dancing. Those are creative pursuits and talents. Talents are the way that you show up every day in your work and in your personal life, and it's simply who you are. You can unpack your talents through a number of different exercises and processes. The most powerful one is self-reflection. The most powerful way is for you to sit down and quietly consider, how have I always shown up? What do people consistently share with me about who I am? Am I always being told how kind and caring and considerate I am of others? Am I always being told how focused and punctual and on time and ready to get going I am? What are the words? What are the things that people in your community, both professional and personal, are always sharing with you? Reflect on that to unpack what your talents are. And intuitively, whatever comes up in my mind is the right thing. You don't need to go and look externally and spend time doing expensive psychometric profiling to understand your talents. Those processes are powerful. I support them. I think they're fantastic. I use many of those processes in my career strategy process to help shine a light on who we are and why we do what we do. But right here, right now, today, in this career strategy session, my invitation to you is to unlock your talents by simply thinking in a reflective way of what is the feedback you always get wherever you go, both personally and professionally. What characterizes who you are? What is it that you bring to every environment, company, team, project, or room? How do you show up? That's where you uncover and find your talents. So let's go further in the definition of what a talent is in my world. So a talent is inherent, it's who you are. You didn't go to the school of how to learn this. You didn't do a qualification on this. It simply is you. A talent, unlike a skill, feeds your energy. When you spend time in this thing that you show up as and you who you are, and when you do more of this, you forget what time of day it is. It could be late at night and you're ready to, close off, and suddenly you get to utilize or do the thing that forms part of your talents, and you could go all night. You simply don't you don't get exhausted by this. It actually energizes you. So there is another clue. Look at the things that you do that you always do. Look at the things that people always say, I'm so grateful for you because you always do this. And look at what energizes you, because therein lies the things that I refer to as talents. And as I said, a talent isn't some wildly creative pursuit that has nothing to do with what you do every day. A talent is the very thing that you use to do the thing that you need to do every day. So when we take this definition, a skill is the gift that the world has given you. A skill is something that you have mastered, and a skill primarily is acquired knowledge versus a talent. A talent is who you are. A talent is inherent. A talent is how you've always shown up. A talent was the thing that started to come forth as you developed and grew as a young child, and you started to always do this thing. And it's just either been not called for in your work, so it's hard to identify it, or it's something that shows up in your personal life more than it does in your professional life. But a talent feeds you with energy. When you are spending time doing the things that you would classify as a talent, nobody can ask you to stop because you don't want to stop, because it gives you so much energy. So by definition, then, a talent is the gift you give the world. So we're talking about skills versus talents in the career strategy session today, first Friday of the month career strategy session. And this is the road to unlocking your superpowers. So earlier, my quest to you, everyone that's here in the Zoom room, was to write down 5 skills. Pick 5 skills that you know that you've learned, know that you've become an expert at, know that you will want to continue to nurture, develop, and grow. And write them down, and then give yourself an energetic metric of which of these, if you spend time doing them all day, drains your energy the most. Now, given that I've suggested my definition of what a talent is a gift you give the world. A talent is who you are, fundamentally. A talent are the things inside of you that nobody taught you how to do this. Talents are harder to identify because it takes closer self-reflection. And yes, as I said, there's many processes and there's many ways that you can unlock your talents. But for now, in this career strategy session, and for you to take this into the weekend, I would love for you to simply self-reflect on what are the things that people are always commenting on about you. What are the things that you do that you not even aware of doing it, but it's what you always do because you're using your talents every day that you show up at work to power your skills. And the reason why I know that is because you're here, you're pitching up, you're willing and able, and you're being strategic enough to be able to access this information, versus somebody who is 100% skills based, who's not infusing their talents within their work, ultimately will hit burnout. Because if you're dialing up on your skills day in and day out, and you're exhausting yourselves and you're not infusing talents within the way that you work, that road does lead to burnout. It leads to exhaustion, and it leads to what we've heard and what we've seen colleagues, friends, and family around us experience. How grateful I am that in this point of our careers, 2024, we're able to talk about exhaustion, burnout, and balance. So, talents then are the things that support you in your skills. So, an ideal work environment is where you're able to use your skills that you've learned, you're able to use the things that you've become an expert at that you want to continue to grow in conjunction with who you inherently are and what your talents are and what you love. Now, as you've headed out into the world of work with that early messaging, which I think is fundamentally wrong, which is work hard on your job and go and be a success, you would have gravitated to certain industries. We've got Zane here, who I know is a financial manager, and she completed her CA qualification. And we've got Farana here, who's a strategic project manager and is specifically talented and focused on working with people and in the communication, event, and staff engagement space. And I know that because I've worked with both of them. You've found yourself in the roles that you are because you have this inherent talent that you've plugged into, that you've used. Think back to early matric days or sort of early secondary school where you just naturally were good at certain things and you weren't that good at other things and you had to work a little bit harder. There is the definition of skills and talents. The things that you've had to work a little bit harder at are the skills, the acquired knowledge. The things that come naturally to you, that you're comfortable with, are the talents. So a combination of both of these form then the ideal environment of work, because you're using the things, the skills, the knowledge that you have to be able to power you, to motivate you, to want to grow and learn more in conjunction with this inherent side of you. Now, let's talk about what some examples of talents may be. And I'll share from my perspective. I know, and I've always known, that I have a talent to be able to see things differently and kind of reorganize what is. So I've always challenged the status quo. I've always questioned, why does it have to be this way? Isn't there somewhere else, another way of doing it? It's not because I'm a disruptor. It's not because I want to change everything. It's not because I want to be difficult, but I just don't take things as they are, which has been a recurring theme throughout my life, my schooling qualifications, my education, all the way through, and certainly throughout my career. And that created the most amount of friction that made me resign cold turkey out of my corporate role and start to career strategize myself back to my purpose and my passion. Because it got to a point where I was asking too many questions about why do things have to be this way? And the environment that I was in and the corporate company that I was in couldn't keep changing. So I knew that I had to exit so that I could create things that I felt the world needed. And therein lies the very career strategy process that I've created. So challenging the status quo and not being afraid to ask questions of why does it have to be this way? Why don't we do it differently? I didn't go to the school of how to challenge the status quo. I didn't do a short course on how to see things differently. It's simply who I was. It's who I was in early primary school. I remember some early memories of the teacher telling us, this is what we need to do, and we need to color this way, and that's what we need to do. And I was the one that said, can't I do it this way? Would it be wrong if I did it my own way? I was constantly inventing my own way and became known as, well, Licia will do it her way. My family call me, well, what's Licia's way? That, there's some good and bad and negativity that comes from the people that love us most. But is this giving you some guidance to unpacking the thing that I'm referring to as a talent? Give me some thumbs up. Thank you, Zane. Give me some thumbs up in the Zoom room, please. Yes, thank you. Some nods and some deep self-reflection. There's the opportunity of you unpacking those talents. So just off the top of your head, right now, write down 5 things that you think could be a talent. This doesn't have to be perfect. This doesn't have to be final. But I know that when you're intentionally focused, you're gifting yourself with the time of being present in this career strategy session, you're going to be able to come up with it. So I'm going to give you a moment to pause here in the LinkedIn Live audio room, and for those brave souls in the Zoom room, please will you write down 5 things that you could say you're talented at, knowing you didn't learn this. It can't be something from your qualifications, from your degree, it can't be something from your expert work that you do. This is not a job description bullet point. This is who you are. Write down 5 things. Could be something along the lines of good listening, attention to others, being able to connect with people, sharing ideas, or nurturing. I mean, there's a plethora of various qualities here that everybody in this room would be incredibly talented at. Write down what those 5 things are. And while you're doing that, I'm going to just take a quick pause, check in the chat in the Zoom room. Yes, Taboho, it is eye-opening to be able to get the definition of these. Welcome to my world where it's all about defining exactly what's important. And it is career strategy 101, knowing your skills versus your talents. Have you had enough time to write those down? Yeah. So you've got 5 skills and you've got an equation of what drains you the most of those 5 skills. I've now challenged you to write down 5 talents. 5 things that are inherently who you are. Remember, a talent is a gift you give the world. I'm not referring to some creative pursuit. A talent is not playing the piano well or having a good singing voice. A talent is who you are, and you are unique and beautiful to all of us. As unique as your fingerprint is, as unique as the person that you are and the journey that you walk through this world, you carry these talents. Numerous talents, and these are the gifts that you give the world. And for you to know them is the superpower that you deserve to shine a light on. So now that you've identified those 5 talents, to really help qualify that they are talents, look at them critically with an eye of, if I had to spend all day doing this thing, how would I feel at the end of the day? Sure, there might be a sense of physical exhaustion. If I were to talk all day, 8 hours straight, I'd need a big glass of water and I would probably have strengthened the muscles in my cheeks and my chin. I would have done a huge amount of face yoga. But I could probably continue to talk for another 8 hours, right? So the 5 talents that you've written down, ask yourself, if I had to do this one singular thing, or these 5 things, 8 hours in my day, how would I feel? And the real clue to understanding that this is a talent is because it will light you up. It will recharge your batteries. It will boost you to the point that you can keep on going and going and going. So there's your definition of what is a skill and what is a talent. Now, how do we bring it all together? Moving on to the closing part of today's strategy session. And before I do, I want to just remind you, if you're here in the LinkedIn audio, please have a look in the comments. You'll see that there is a link to join the Career Strategy Session community. It's simply a subscription link, which will allow you the option of getting a replay of this call. You'll get notified of next month's Career Strategy Session, which will be the first Friday in July. And you'll also have the opportunity to send me your questions directly. I don't want this community to get lost in the DMs or general email. That's why I've created a space for you to join. And for those of you who are in the LinkedIn Live, if you want to get into the Zoom room, then the way to do it would be subscribe and join the community. As a reminder, please do so. Let's wrap things up. We're heading into 1:45, nearly 20 to 2. It's amazing how fast time goes. And I'm sure in this analogy of skills versus and superpowers, would you agree that there's a superpower in me that could continue to talk and continue to share and continue to teach? Yeah. Everyone in the Zoom room's laughing. Thank you, Verona. Yes, absolutely. There is that. So I spent the early parts of my career being told I'm really good at sales because I could talk. Well, in fact, I'm not good at sales. I mean, I could be, and I was interested in that, but it's about sharing information and knowledge. That combined with my talent to challenge the status quo has pivoted me, and my skills that I've learned along the way has pivoted me into the position of being a career strategist who's going to challenge the way things are done in terms of finding our dream career. Challenge that we're given from the world to work hard on our careers and not hard on ourselves, and to be able to share and speak, whether that's one-on-one workshops or in spaces and places like this. So absolutely, I could keep going for another 8 hours, and therein lies the fact that it's a talent. When I come off these calls, I feel absolutely energized and enlivened. And that's how you will feel when you look at these 5 talents that you've written down. So bringing it all together is this. An ideal role should draw on clearly your skills, clearly what you're good at doing, clearly what you've studied, what you've learned, what you've enhanced, and what you will continue, what you will be motivated to continue to grow and study in conjunction with your talents, in conjunction with who you are. And if there are certain things that you do in your working day that absolutely drain you, it's because you're dialing up on your skills, and it's not something that connects with that inherent talent. So energy here is the leading quest to follow. Where your energy goes, what inspires you, what ignites you, what really lights you up, that starts taking you to the path of where your talents then intersect with your skills. So somebody who's purely skills-based, as I said earlier, is dialing up on their energy day in and day out and exhausting themselves. And we've all seen that colleague, that friend, that family, or possibly it might have been us, where we've headed to the brick wall, where we're about to we simply can't sum up or gather up the energy to continue to dial up to these things, versus the equation of talents, which inspires us. Now, I know that there is times in our desired work where we have to do things that we don't really enjoy, but we're capable of doing it. And we can do it for a certain period of time and do it well and finish it and then move on. So a good example of a really fulfilling role would probably be a 50-50 equation of skills and talents, skills that you've mastered and things that naturally are inherently you, gifts that the world are giving you and gifts that you're getting to give to the world. And that equation, you can measure it by looking at your notes today. I've asked you to write down 5 skills and energetically order them. What's the thing that you enjoy doing the most, or the thing that you could continue to do, or the thing that is going to drain you of your energy? So you're ordering them from an energetic metric. And I've asked you to just quickly off the top of your head, you're writing down 5 talents. And you're able to look at those things and put the energetic metric and identify that if you spend all day doing that thing, you'd just keep doing it. There'd be a sense of physical exhaustion or mental exhaustion, but you could just keep going. It would just inspire you. So there's your metric in a bit of a meta sense for you to take into the work that you currently do. So haul out your CV, pull out your job description, remind yourself of your LinkedIn profile in terms of what are the things that you do in your work, and use this metric of skills versus talents. 5 of the talents that you love and 5 of the skills that you know that you're good at, and apply them to each piece of action-orientated work that you need to do in the day, or the week, or the month. We all have different workflows, right? And work processes. Take this metric into your day, into your daily routine, and allow it to give you more information. Remember at the beginning of the call, I said that at the session, I said that you are your own guru. You have an inner career guru, and I'm here to help ignite, unlock, shine a light on that in these career strategy sessions. And it's my greatest honor and pleasure to be able to take you through some thinking and some strategy on the first Friday of each month. But I'm giving you access to that own inner guru. I'm sharing with you from my process what I developed, what I understood, and what I take my clients through for you to be able to extrapolate one small element of how to gain the clarity that you deserve to have to fully know yourself so that you can move into the world telling people who you are and finding the people that want who you are. So, my friends, here in the LinkedIn audio room and in the Zoom room, our time is coming to an end. My big invitation and challenge to you all is, will you subscribe to the community so that you can get the replay and have access to the session? And will you be here on the first Friday in July? See if you can, between now and then, track your skills and talents. Do some work this weekend. Apply this information that I've shared with you and allow it to inform how you move through that creation. It's a creative process of designing your career. It's not just doing the work that you need to do blindly, working hard on your job and climbing this invisible corporate ladder and hoping someone would notice. That's not what we're here to do. We're here to work hard on ourselves. We're here to impact and influence and find our purpose work and go to work on purpose. And that's the work that I do, and that's the process that I take people through. What I always say is that in the beginning, it's going to be hard. In the middle, it's going to get messy. But in the end, it will be magnificent. And you'll be able to unlock infinite possibilities. So this is the work of figuring out who you are. This is the work that's going to take you to that purposeful understanding. And once you know it, combined with a whole bunch of other things, you can start telling the world. And when you can start telling the world, whether it's on something like your LinkedIn profile or whether it's within those KPI meetings or within job interviews, and you can say, this is what I'm talented at. My definition of a talent is something that's inherent to me, and it's a gift I give the world. I bring these gifts with me to my work. I'm very skilled in these things, and these are the things that I've acquired and learned, and I'll continue to be skilled in them. See how easy it flows when you've got that terra firma and that understanding and that definition? So follow through yourself. Hold yourself accountable. Stay committed to taking action. You have the potential to expand into your career and absolutely own it. That's revolutionary. That's transformation. And that's what everybody deserves, because you're being strategic and you're choosing yourself today. So thank you to everyone who's here in the Zoom room. Thank you to those of you in the LinkedIn Live and audio. I am going to allow a few minutes of questions. It's absolutely fine if you don't have a question. This is not my expectation, but if you do and you want to talk about the skills and talents definition that I've shared with you here, and if there's anything that you want to share, in the LinkedIn audio room, you'd need to raise your hand, and that it means I add you to stage and everybody else will hear that. But please don't be concerned. No question is too big or too small. But I respect if you just want to listen and you're deep in your reflective thoughts. And for those of you that are joining us in the Zoom room, you're welcome to drop your questions in the chat, and I would be more than happy to help answer them. So as we wrap up, thank you. Thank you for your presence, and thank you for your focus. And again, a reminder, please make sure that you have subscribed to the Career Strategy Session community. There's a link in the event on LinkedIn Live, and I'm going to drop the link here in the, well, actually the Zoom room, you've already subscribed. That's why you're here. So you don't need to, but I'll drop the link in the LinkedIn Live. In the event, you'll see the link. Please click on that and make sure that you've subscribed. Wait for us more specifically and share, for you to ask me questions and for me to be able to know where you're at. So thank you, thank you, thank you for everyone. Thank you to everyone for your time, for your attention, and for being here. It's time for us to say goodbye. Having a quick look through the chat. Nobody in the audio room, nobody in the audio room or the Zoom has any questions. So thank you. Zane, clapping right back at you and celebrating your journey and your discoveries, and equally so to everybody else who's here. Thank you for your time and thank you for being present. Big, big, big love and heart back. Yes, Farana, I see you, I hear you, and you know where to find me. Thank you, everybody. All the best, and go into the weekend unpacking this knowledge that is my biggest pleasure to share with you. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.